am I? I didn't
Okay.
show up on the thing.
You're right there.
I didn't organize this well.
There you go. Hi, everybody at the What's on an Elephant and Castle Facebook page. My name is Nick. This is Melissa. Joining us is Alex Brito from the Elephant and Castle community. Alex, how are you today?
Very good, brother. Very good. How about you guys?
I'm okay.
Super good. I'm actually in a really I'm really happy, aren't I? I'm kind of annoying.
It's annoying, actually. It's very early, and he's too happy for me today.
He's an early bird. Early bird. That's it.
And also, he invited himself over.
Well, you're in my bubble.
Yeah, but I don't want to be. Anyway, this is where we're at.
How amazingly accepting is this beautiful holiday time that we are now talking about? And Alex, could you please just introduce yourself and what you do in the community?
Yeah. So I'm originally from Brazil. I came in 2015 with my family. Just to start up from scratch, a church. But what do I mean by that? That's what I do. I start up churches. But when I say church, I need to clarify what I mean by that, because people have all sort of misconceptions, right? So a church, I mean, for me, it's not a building. It's not an event. It's not an institution. It's just a group of people who love Jesus and who love one another and who wants to show love to the community they are part of. So that's what I do. I call myself a church planter. I plant the seed in an area and I hope it grows just to bless the area. And as soon as it grows, I tend to move out. I know that's sad. Some people don't like when I say, well, I'm not here. We never know. Especially right now, we can't make a long-term plans, right? So I would say for now, I'm in the area for the long run. And that's what I do. I just try to get to know people. And one of the ways we try to help the community is by starting up other community projects. We've got the International Cafe. It's a meetup we run once a week, and the aim of it is just to connect people. We began it with the aim of connecting international students, because we realized they were here on their own. It was hard for them to be making new friends. So the whole aim of the project was to just connect international students so they could make new friends, practice their English. However, after the pandemic, we've got people from different parts of the globe, natives. It's been fun. I think from now on, we are going to try to have the aim of the project, something related with loneliness. We want to make sure we have this safe environment where people can come together just to be in contact with others. So that's pretty much what I do. I run a lot of small, tiny social projects that I could be sharing later on with more details with you.
No, I think we spoke a few weeks ago, and just from the time that we talked, I love your energy. I love what you're doing. I love the passion behind what you do in terms of connecting people together in community, which is at the core of what me and Mel do. But we are coming into a holiday season that is like no other that we have seen. I want to keep this upbeat, but what are the challenges that you've seen in the community right now? And how do you think people can really get through this period of time that, like I say, has been like no other?
I mean, although I'm a kind of optimistic person, it is difficult, isn't it? I mean, this Christmas, for instance, we thought, okay, we can have two other bubbles meeting with us for Christmas Eve or on Christmas Day. So what did we do this year? I mean, we've been doing that for many, many years, and I've got some friends in the community doing the same. They invite people who would be celebrating on their own to celebrate with us. So I had this guy who's who was going to celebrate on his own. So I said, oh, come on, you can be with us this Christmas. And it's just sad to find out a few days before Christmas that, come on, no, you can't be meeting together anymore. However, Nick, here's the thing. I think as a community, we still can do something. If you have a neighbor who is going to spend Christmas alone, just give a call. Just give a call. Try to. I mean, I believe that Zoom this year it's going to be it's going to be well used, because on Christmas Day a lot of people are going to be celebrating through Zoom. So if you can, try to get in contact with someone who might not have the hope that maybe someone like me and you, Nick, or even you, Mel, would have. Come on, we can go through this. But for some people, it's quite difficult, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So someone facing a kind of depression, well, I don't expect this person to be, trying to see any kind of hope in the midst of this pandemic. So get in contact with someone you know is in need of help. Yeah.
It's really hard. It almost feels counterintuitive, I think, to say for our healing, even though everything happening now is for our health. It feels almost, at least for me, it feels counterproductive to the soul to say, in order to get better, you need to keep distance. Like, I just still am really struggling from wrapping my brain around it, because you know, if we have some sort of disease like cancer or something, at least from my practice and from my belief, you know, part of the healing of that is through the opposite of loneliness. So it's through getting connection, like with, like, on the metabolical kind of side of it, but also the spirit side of it, is you need that kind of connection, that support, that, like, you know, you're actually not siloed into anything. And it feels, for me, what I'm struggling with, and I think a lot of people, is almost the like ebb and flow of like a little bit of hope, and then nope, sorry, and then a little bit of hope. And I see that so much in the people I work with, is that the hope is there, cool, and it's almost like a lot of people would rather not have it and like stay focused and have it for a second and then get it pulled back. So I'm watching that kind of like almost like a tide wave in the shore, right? Pulling back. And I guess that's the practice of coming back to yourself, and you keep going. And we are so resilient, and we're finding so many creative ways of showing up, and like even leaving a little package at the door for somebody on like a day, you know, or a little card. I've noticed there's so many cards being bought and stuff, like
that's
nice
right.
that is. Like, I don't know, I don't have a question. I'm just kind of venting because it's been a hard morning for me. But I think like even notes around like, hey, I see you, you know, can really go a long way, because we're all actually knowing what it feels like to like be a little bit funky.
And the other thing, Mel, is that it's okay not to feel well. It's okay. Okay. I mean, but you brought to my mind something that happened yesterday. So my next door neighbor, she rang. I mean, it was around 7 o'clock in the evening, and she knocked on the door, and I was wondering what's going on here. I mean, come on, this is tier 4. You're not meant to be knocking on people's door at 7 o'clock. It was my neighbor with some Christmas gifts. And that was so nice. And although we didn't, I mean, we had to keep the distance. We had this really nice conversation. And to be honest, that made our day. So we had the kids at the back, like, opening the gifts and I think this season is going to be a season for us to reflect about these tiny things that we wouldn't pay attention in the business. I mean, if we were busy, just what I'm saying. Okay, I need to prepare this huge Christmas. I need to be thinking about the decoration. I need to be thinking about the meals we are going to cook. I don't have time. I'm going to spend the day preparing, I don't know, the meal for Christmas. But now, little things like that, we're going to give a value to them that we may and maybe we wouldn't without this pandemic. So I think it's going to be a season of reflection. It's going to be a season of reflection.
I agree.
I like your kind of thoughts as a man of faith that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I know that you believe that the human power collective is stronger than anything else. And really what I was, as you guys were just talking, what I noticed about the holiday time, kind of from Christmas Eve, well, Christmas morning until for 3 or 4 days, you know what I've noticed all the Christmases is the noise turns down from the world, and that you're in your space. There's not as much news. There's not as many broadcasts. There's no press conferences going on. There's no like bombardment of stuff, positive, bad, whatever. There's no bombardment. So the noise kind of goes down. And that's where I feel like the collective human spirit rises. Have you had times in your life where you've really felt like the human collective rise, where you just go, we're all in this together. I have faith. Everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, I don't believe, I mean, I truly believe that we were made to live in communities. We were not made to be living in the way we are right now, okay? I love the internet. I love what we are doing right now. So I'm celebrating it. However, don't get me wrong. Although I appreciate that, I keep telling myself, Alex, that's not the normal, okay? That's not the normal. We were made to live in community, to be helping one another, and something interesting that Mel was saying that came to my mind as well, is that although we are doing all we can to protect ourselves from this virus, I mean, physically speaking, we also need to think in a holistic way, right? So Mel mentioned about, come on, it's not only a body. We've got emotions. We've got a spirit. So we need to think in a holistic way. And I think what you guys are doing, what I'm doing, and a lot of people in the area are doing, it engages with people in this holistic way. And I think that's why it's really important to be doing things that we are doing, especially even right now, just by reflecting, by thinking, how can we make the most of it, even through a pandemic? Although it's difficult, I think late in the future we're going to see a lot of the benefits of it. That's my hope.
I agree. I think that this is really, for me, what I'm recognizing is that this is a big reveal for us in terms of, I mean, I've said this 1,100 times, but
1,100?
1,100.
That's a good number.
It's a new number. It's a 2021 number. Nobody's heard of it yet. But I'm a trendsetter, as they say. I think it's like revealing so much about so many things that are not in the mainstream, I think, like conscissness or even media. So I'm sitting and hearing and feeling all the fear that's being like ping-ponged around. I don't know where I'm getting language today. I apologize. But all the fear that's just being thrown at us. And I think it's such an already unnatural state to be in. Like if we think about our bodies and we think about our lizard brains and our fight, flight, freeze response. There's a threat, so I must be on alert. I must be ready to defend, attack. And like we're being kind of told that we need to be afraid of our own existence, of our neighbor, of our thing, because we're gonna kill them or they're gonna kill us. So for me, I'm like, what is this doing physiologically and psychologically to us, and our like the depletion of the spirit? And it feels like this revelation is coming where people are like, what if I understand that the threat is real, but I don't have to choose fear, that I can choose love.
Excellent.
Right. And I think that for me is my hope as well, is like having people, especially myself too. And this is to your point of community. If I choose love for myself and I show up in community choosing love for myself and they choose love for themselves, then this ripple effect creates. And all of a sudden you have 100,000 people choosing love.
Yeah. 1,100.
1,100 people choosing love. Yeah. Then woof, like that is the healing. That's the medicine. That's the like.
That's right. Yeah.
That's the medicine, I think. So that's that community, when you said it, I mean, we all work in it, so we know it. But like, I think like my healing is not my healing. Your healing is not your healing if it can't be reflected and engaged and honored in the other person. So we do it alone, but we also we are not meant to do it alone. You know what I mean?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I keep saying that fear is a natural emotion. It's a positive emotion. We all need it, okay, to be aware of threats. However, this emotion can't take control of us. Exactly. So whenever I see people fearful, but in a negative way, I tend to tell them the story of Jesus spent a whole day teaching people about faith. Have faith, but in a theoretical way, okay? In a very theoretical way. After a long day of teaching, he tells his disciples they are going to cross the lake. So they got on this boat, and on their way, a huge storm arises. And Jesus is sleeping. He's sleeping. The disciples, some of them fishermen, they know what's going to happen. They're going to die. So they naturally are fearful, okay? So they wake up Jesus and they say, oh, don't you care that we are going to die? But instead of Jesus turning to them saying, yeah, I get what you're going through, he says, where is your faith? Where is your faith? And then he comes down the storm, and the disciples then they are fearing what they've just seen. Right. Wow. I mean, the point is, we don't have control over the future. Why are we so fearful? Okay. Here's the thing, Mel and Nick. I mean, do I know when am I going to die? I have no clue. I have no clue. So let's make the most of it while we are here. Okay, so let's not turn fear or even disappointment into anger, hate. Let's use it to help one another, to support one another, to love one another. Because, I mean, this is the kind of faith we need. It's the faith of love, right? I keep using love. But let me just define. Love is something sacrificial. It's when you think about yourself and you think about others in a way that this, okay, here's the thing. The name of the church I'm leading now is called Mosaic, okay? Mosaic is that a piece of art of different broken pieces put together to form what? A beautiful image, okay? If they are not put together, they are rubbish. They are broken. They are useless, okay? But when you put them together, they form a beautiful image. And I think human beings, if you are not coming together, if love is not the glue that ties us together, we are going to be useless. It's pointless. We were made to love one another and to love God. Yeah. I'm preaching here, right?
No, I love it. And both you and Mel have said this thing about like choose love, not fear. So how would you practically, someone's listening to this, okay, so how do I choose love over fear? What are some of the practical ways? You mentioned a couple, but what are some more kind of practical ways where someone could go, well, what is love? And how do I choose it over fear?
Okay. I would say the best way to understand love is to ask yourself how you would like to be treated. Okay, how would you like to be treated? And then you have to ask yourself, is there any cost in that? Okay, let me give a practical example. I understand love now in a way that I didn't understand, let's say, 15 years ago when I didn't have a child. All right. So whenever my daughters, when they were toddlers, they would wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I mean, shouting, crying, and my wife would wake up to breastfeed them. Wow, then I understood what love is. In other words, my wife, of course, she wants to be fed. She needs food to survive. And that's what she was doing to somebody else, all right? Yeah, it's her daughter, Alex. Yeah, but it's somebody else. But she did that in a sacrificial way. Okay. Did she want to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning? Not at all. Did I want to wake up? No. But we did. And we did with pleasure. We did with pleasure. I didn't sit down with my wife and I said, you know what, let's get rid of this baby. okay, our life was so nice before. Now we can't even sleep anymore. Did we do it? No. Why? Somehow, Nick, the true love is something sacrificial, but it gives you pleasure. Yeah. I know it's quite philosophical, right? But it gives you pleasure. So in a practical way, try to help people in a way that you never helped before, and just do the test. Just do the test. What did I get back from it? What did I get back? Deep inside, you're going to feel good. Deep inside, I mean, it's what you guys do, right? Why do you do what you do? You could be doing anything else. Okay, you could be doing anything else, but you do what you do because I would say people like you and me and any one of us can get it. This pleasure of being loving people and receiving love, it's priceless. It's a treasure. It's a treasure.
I know this story of in a book that I read a lot, and there's this story in it about a prospector who's like all of his life digging in the mud, looking for gold, you know, and the day that he finds the gold, he gives it away. Mm-hmm. And so it wasn't in the finding and all the stuff that he went through, but it was like, oh, I gave this gold away, and he felt more complete than anything. And I think that's where we are, is that as humanity, once we realize that giving away our love and our attention and our care for someone fills us up. This prospector felt so full that no gold could ever fill him like the love of giving that gold away gave him.
It's interesting too, because even in Toltec, like understanding, there's this, you know, your heart is can be seen as a full kitchen, right? So if your fridge is full of food and you are never without food, right? And if somebody's coming at the door and knocks at the door and asks you for some food, you're like, yeah, sure, take it. And you give it because it's there and you're not without. It's not without from you. But if we flip it and we are living in an empty kitchen and food is scarcity and somebody comes, then we might want to grab it because we're afraid it's going to go. And so there's this connection between the unhealthy and the full love, where the more I give, the more I have. And it's like, love is not scarcity, it's the abundance, but we're not, I think, taught that the more we give, the more we actually receive. I think that's very counter to a lot of what Western, I think, cultures kind of tell us about like love and being yours. It's yours, keep it, or there's a finite limit to these things. It's quite infinite. And it
was like kind of like
she needs to talk as well.
Love is at the door.
One's at the door. So this is what I was. Hey.
Let her talk as well.
Oh, this is door. It's really.
That's good.
It's the great thing about live Facebook stuff.
Yeah.
But the thing that you said about the story about on the boat, where's your faith? And I think that the more that people share their experiences of when I give with no expectation of anything return, I have these feelings of this like pure joy. Yeah. You know, and no one has noticed. I don't tell anybody about it. I've just given something to somebody, and you know a little bit about my story in say the recovery community. That's a big part of what I do, is like helping people who can't give me anything back. Yeah. And I've got a lot of experience in doing that, so I know that I just get so content and so full of just calmness. And I think that if people practice it, they start to collect evidence, and then they start to go from kind of faith to trust. That's where it's right. Like, oh, I'll have faith that Nick and Mel and Alex are saying this, but if I actually take the actions in doing it and I collect the evidence, then I start practicing it even more and sharing it even more.
But Nick, this is another misconception people have about faith. Faith is not blind, okay? Faith is not blind. So let me explain through an analogy. My grandmother, she loves me. She would love to come to the UK. She's in Brazil, okay? So she would love to come. But she keeps saying, I can never be on an aeroplane, never. And I sat down with her many times to explain how safe an aeroplane is. Okay, you can share all the statistics with her. You can show her how safe it is. Do you know what she keeps saying? I know, but I don't trust it. I've got the knowledge, but I don't trust it. So faith is not something blind. So even going back to the story of Jesus, he spent the day sharing knowledge, sharing theory, and the both experience, I believe that was on purpose. I think that was on purpose. Let me give you life experience to these disciples, so then they can understand what it means to have faith. So even the pandemic, okay, let's use as an opportunity to actually taste something that can be seen, right? Okay, now is the time to see how real we are, okay? Because we all talk about um, loving the community, serving the community, but when things get tough, when things get difficult, it's when we are going to see the truth, right?
Yeah, that's when we're really called to action, right? It's and to speak to your point of faith, it's easy to have faith in God when your life is all right, right? But it's like when that relationship, when you're out and you're struggling and your heart is broken and you're alone, then what is your faith really like? What's your relationship with whatever God you choose to invite in? So I think that's the beautiful piece too. And that I have a question for you.
Okay.
It's a Jesus question.
Okay, go on.
No, because I am a fan of Jesus. I am not religious, but I appreciate Jesus and what he represented and the way he modeled his life.
Sure.
And so he has this a parable. It's not a parable, but he has this thing where he says, I don't know if I should even. He says something like, "Consider the lilies." Like they're talking about
Matthew
that
6.
for me. Whoosh, hit me because
Tell me, I don't know it.
You'll probably speak to it more, but the consider the lilies for me embodies everything about what faith and your relationship with a higher entity is, right? The lilies are there, but also the mud, also the rain, also the. Anyway, if you don't mind, because I'm sure.
No. I think. Again, even Jesus, there are many misconceptions about him out there. But if you want to understand who Jesus is, read the passage you just mentioned, Nick, because it's called the Sermon on the Mountain. So Jesus is teaching a multitude of people, and he's actually explaining what his kingdom is all about. It's a perfect kingdom. It's a perfect kingdom. Okay, so he gives a beautiful sermon, and by chapter 6 he talks about anxiety. Okay, he talks about anxiety, and by talking about anxiety, he's trying to tell people, you don't have control over the future. Why are you so worried about the future? Why are you so busy trying to accumulate things? Okay, look at the flowers, the lilies. Okay, they don't need to buy their clothes. Okay, they were made in the way they are made. They were made, and they are beautiful. You're more special. Okay, here's the thing. I love nature. I love animals. But according to Jesus, we are more special than animals, than pets. Okay, so he's trying to say, do you really think I'm not gonna look after you? Do you really think I'm not gonna provide what you need? So don't be too anxious. Don't be too anxious. I think that's the point he's trying to make in that passage. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. I didn't read it that way, but I like that. But I did read it that way in terms of like that's the thing we're with right now. This is the lily, and it's just perfect in exactly the way it is, right? It's no right, no wrong. We are not judging it. Well, why aren't you a better, prettier lily? It just is. And I think when we can approach every interaction with humans and with nature that way, but nature, we kind of, Ram Dass says this too, but like, when you go into a forest, you don't like pick up, I'm going to butcher this too, but you don't like judge the tree for being crooked. You just accept that this is the tree and it's grown the way it's grown because of the environment. But somehow when it comes to humans, we're like judging and you're not this enough, or you're too much of that, or do this better, or don't do that. And I think for me, that's where that consider the lilies comes in, is like, if we just approach things and honor their exact existence as perfect, as divine, then as sacred, then that changes the whole game, where every interaction is a sacred, is a ceremony, is a relationship with God. Then, I mean, the world can be quite a little bit.
It's contentment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Be content, be satisfied, okay? Be satisfied. I mean, can't you see how beautiful you are the way you are?
Yeah.
Stop trying to be something or someone else.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing, is we always try to, in all of these judgments, we separate ourselves, right? And when we're separate, we're isolated, we're in a silo of ego thinking, and I need this to feel okay, and I need this to feel okay, rather than saying, I don't know what I need. I know what I want, but just kind of going for disregarding the things that we want and the things that we need just to exist, to become part of a community, which is conscious connection, right? And then conscious connection, I just feel balanced. I feel like I'm part of society. And I think that we have the history of, I suppose, capitalism, the cultural and ideological ideas that have been put into our systems that we're growing up with, they just keep us siloed. They keep us always competing against one another rather than becoming part of one another. And it's a practice, isn't it? I mean, how do you, like, when, especially kind of with guys that look like us, how do you talk to them in a way where they can maybe not fight the ego so much, and they can kind of start to live in their heart instead of their heads?
I think, and this is the hard thing, isn't it? Because deep inside, we are all egocentric. We are all egocentric, and I'm fighting this fight, okay, Nick? I'm fighting this fight. It's hard, it's difficult, but that's what we need to do daily. We need to, so before I even try to help someone to understand that, I'm trying to kill myself every day. And that needs to be a daily exercise, daily exercise. One thing I keep telling people is that, I mean, before doing what I'm doing, I was into business, okay? At the age of 17, I started up my own company. After 2 years, I was in crisis because I had everything. I had a nice car, I had a nice home, I had a nice business, I had the status, okay? I had the status, okay, there we go. That's a kind of entrepreneur you all need to follow. 17 years old, making money, living a nice life, going to nice parties. But deep inside, you know what I mean? I was broken. I was not content. I was not satisfied, not fulfilled at all. Okay. So right now, I'm trying to help people to see that, oh, you know what? There is nothing wrong with money. There is nothing wrong with you pursuing a nice career, a good education. All these good things, they need to be valued, but they can't be the most important thing in your life. Because from the moment you make it the most important thing in your life, these things are going to destroy you. Whether it's education, even family. Start adoring your family more than God, for instance. The day someone passes away, I mean, we were talking about grief earlier on. It's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult because, and money would be another example. The day you lose it, you lose hope as well. You want.
It's just kind of challenging people to go, what is the measure of you? Is the measure of you the car you drive, the house you live in, the money you have in your bank? Or is the measure of you, what is the positive impact you make in your community and in people around you? And this is, again, it's one of those things where people need to kind of start practicing things, even like you say, on a daily routine of maybe a little bit of meditation in the morning, maybe a bit of quiet time, maybe some self-care. It isn't going to necessarily spending a lot of money going to a spa, but it could be just a little bit of self-care where you can start to look after yourself. And these are just little things that I think we've been trying to instill in people as we go along. Get in touch with us so that we can talk to you more about. Can you, Mel, describe a little bit of self-care and how it benefits people?
Sure.
She has better words when
I don't think so. I think the thing around self-care, what it requires is for you to become your own friend to yourself and be able to engage with yourself in a way you would your beloved. Because I think when we are seeing, you've mentioned separation and this illusion that I am different than you, when the truth is, like, you know, I am that too. So what I'm seeing around is part of me, and we're just these reflections. Okay, I'm getting off track. I think what first thing around self-care is it's going to look different for everybody. The way I take care of myself and I honor myself and I befriend myself is going to be very different for you or for Nick or for somebody else. So I think that's really important to first acknowledge that self-care, there's no one prescribed remedy to what care has to look like. You know, it looks like whatever you need it to look like. And when you were talking, I was even thinking, like, you know, last night it was winter solstice and I like lit candles and I like dimmed the lights and I just had a blanket and I put on warm sweaters, and that is caring for myself. You know, somebody else might not see it that way, but it doesn't have to be this big dramatic thing. It can just be take a breath to like treat yourself for a second as you would a friend in whatever way that means. That's what I'm going to say. How about you, Alex? Why didn't you speak to that?
I call that sustainable sacrifice, Nick. What is sustainable sacrifice? Just because, we kept talking about love others, but be very careful with that, because you can only love others if you love yourself. So you need to have sustainable sacrifices, okay? What does that mean? It's basically what you said, okay? Think about yourself, take your breaks, go on holiday. I know people like me who they find it difficult to go on holiday because they think it's unfair. Those I'm helping, they can't go on holiday. But the thing is, if you don't look after yourself, okay, you're going to get in a worse situation in the future. And if you get there, you can't help others because you're going to be. So we need to make sacrifices, but they need to be sustainable. We need to balance things.
I wonder, Alex, like, you know, when I think of self-care too, I think of it as like saying yes to yourself. Like if you were going to say give yourself full permission to say yes to yourself, what would that look like? How would you breathe? How would you move? How would you create? And I'm wondering, in your interactions with people, I'm assuming, but maybe not.
Yeah, sure.
It must be, maybe, do you get a lot of people automatically saying no, like impossible, or I can't, or not right now? Like, are you met with a lot of no's?
Well, but this is the problem I face. I've got weaknesses. I'm over optimistic. Okay. If you turn to me and say, Alex, you know what? I've got this feeling that this pandemic is over tomorrow. I would be the kind of guy who think, oh, you know what? I also believe that. If you think like that, I'm with you. So, and by being over optimist, I'm always facing people who are pessimistic in a very negative way, negative way. But it's all about it's about our personalities, isn't it, Mel? I mean, if you realize someone is very it's a half empty cup. Our job is just to try to help this person to realize, come on, don't see it in a negative way, see it in a positive way, because you've got more water in your cup than a lot of people around you. But I face them all the time, especially those who are facing a kind of mental illness, because mental illness is something that it's beyond your control, isn't it? If you're facing depression, for instance, that would be a natural reaction, right? You would feel very sad. You would have negative thoughts all the time.
I think that I think as we're kind of coming into the last 5 or 6 minutes of our chat, there's been a lot of things to kind of note as we're going into this new holiday season in a day. That really the message that I'm getting from you both is like, let's choose love over fear. And I think that part of this, I think, because the thing that I immediately go to, Alex, if something's happening, like all of a sudden I can't see Mel and my partner on the same day, I get into self-pity. I'm like, this was going to be the best holiday, best Christmas. I'm going to get Mel and Daniela. We're going to have a wonderful time. And my immediate thing was like self-pity, like, whoa, I've worked so hard to get this. So this is a thing that I think a lot of people are going to have is self-pity, but also how can I be in pity when the whole, the London, let's say, is in tier 4. Everybody is going through it. So for me, it was quite an easy thing to shake off the self-pity because I'm in a good place. I don't have COVID. Everything's good. So just quickly, like what would be some of the things that you could maybe say to people to kind of shake off that self-pity, apart from the fact that shake it off because everybody's in it. Apart from that.
I was thinking about that today because, I mean, I came from Brazil, okay? Although it's a rich country, poverty is a huge reality there. And I was thinking about a lot of friends who face poverty here, but the poverty they are facing here, it's not the same poverty that I've seen before. So I liked your question because I was reflecting a lot about that. How can I help even someone who is living in a council estate to see that they are rich? They are rich. I think we need to help people to learn the secret of contentment. Okay, and comparisons. It's a good one, Nick. I like it. Try to help people to see. Look here. Look at this. And here's the funny thing. I've met people, poor people, who were satisfied with the life they had. And how was that even possible? Come on. Well, stop comparing yourself to others in a way that it's gonna make you desire things that you may not be able to have at this stage of your life. And if you're going to compare with those who don't have what you have. One of the things is, although we are on social media right now, be careful with that. Okay, so that would be the other. Be careful of the Instagram. Instagram is not real life. It's not real life. Okay, when we take a picture smiling, you can't see what is going on inside of that person. Okay, so don't make assumptions. Don't make assumptions because we are all human beings, and we've got our needs, we've got our frustrations, disappointments. Just be careful. Just be careful. If you're going to compare with someone who doesn't have what you have, and be satisfied with it.
Yeah. Also, you said self-pity, and it's funny that you go to right there right away. We're like, oh, woe is me, and I think a lot of people do. But I'm wondering, like, or not wondering, but what came to my mind is also like, what if we all started reprogramming, shifting the way we engage with what happens to us, not as a punishment, not as a shame on you, but as a way for us to become closer to ourselves, our true nature, whatever expression of God we decide to engage with, right? What if things that happen weren't a punishment? Like, what if they were a revelation of something deeper and greater for us? So even changing the way we ask around what's happening to us, maybe it's happening with us, for us. You can't, like, I'm doing that. Then that changes the kind of, I think, the way we are able to process and engage and reflect of like, all right, here we go. I didn't sign up for this, but this is where we're at. So I'm going to do whatever I can with it.
Seeing things from a different perspective. So
Yeah.
yesterday I was teaching some people the true meaning of Christmas. What is the true meaning of Christmas? It's about Jesus' birth. Yeah, so come on. If that is the reason why people celebrate Christmas, well, it's not a bad thing. Okay, people are going to hate what I'm going to say here. Yeah, it's not the worst thing that we are not going to be able to celebrate Christmas as we would like to celebrate. Okay, so I'm including myself. I was going to have two other families celebrating with us, and we can't do it. However, if the meaning of Christmas is about the birth of Jesus, wow, what opportunity we have right now to actually reflect about the true meaning of it, instead of getting busy with things that they are good, but they are not related to it. So yeah, seeing things from a different perspective, it helps. It helps, Mel. It helps. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Well, Alex, we've come to the end of our time. If anybody has heard us and would like to get in touch with you over the holiday time, do you want to just speak your details now, and then also email them to me, and I'll put them into this feed too? So how can people get in touch with you?
I mean, on our webpage, www.mosaicmulticulturalchurch.org, there are a lot of different means of communication people can get in touch with us. So mosaicmulticulturalchurch.org. And I'll be sharing with you some more details. And please feel free to get in touch. If you're going to through any kind of difficulties in life, I'm in the area to serve people. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being with us today. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Have a wonderful holiday time. And I know when this unlocks, we will be able to be in your presence physically, and I know we'll be able to create some positive impact to the Elephant and Castle community together. So thank you so much, Alex, and happy holidays.
Thank you, guys. Have a happy Christmas and a happy New Year as well.
Yes.
All the best.
Thank you. And thanks everyone at the What's on Elephant and Castle Facebook page. If anything has kind of been brought up, please get in touch with us through the page. But also this Thursday, we'll be having I think it's the last workshop of the year. We can talk about what we discussed today. So that's at 11 p.m. GMT, 11 a.m. Sorry, GMT. It's been really nice being with you, next to you today, not through screen. It's cool.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.